Hello and welcome to Cinematic Venom and Happy Thanksgiving! I know I'm British, but views innit. And what better way to celebrate Thanksgiving than the death and slaughter of poultry? I know they're chickens, but the sequel's coming out soon, so I've got to capitalise. Why do Americans celebrate taking over someone's land and slaughtering a bunch of people?
Quiet.
Good old Wallace and Gromit buddies Aardman are back on the scene with Chicken Run, a concept first conceived back in 1995. It was originally intended to be a spoof of the 1963 film The Great Escape, and to be fair, that aspect did end up making it into the final film. This was Aardman's first feature-length outing, so it was an extremely daring project for them. It was in 96 when Pathé agreed to finance the film, with DreamWorks joining in 97. Other studios were interested as well, but DreamWorks came out on top, beating the likes of 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, and even Disney. They were eager to make their presence felt in the animation market in an attempt to compete with Disney.
What?
Filming didn't officially begin until January the 29th, 1998, with 30 sets being used with 80 animators. Each week of filming, only around 1 minute of footage was actually completed due to the slow process of the stop motion, with 3,500 kilograms of plasticine being used. And filming wasn't finished until June the 18th, 1999, with Chicken Run finally being released to the world on June the 23rd, 2000. And it was extremely well received, many complimenting not only the animation but the charm, voice acting and the darker elements, touching on subjects such as feminism, revolution and fascism. It wasn't just a dumb kids movie. It was certainly a mature piece, and in its opening weekend alone, it grossed $17.5 million, only losing to Me, Myself and Irene. Odd competition.
Then there's still a chance.
In total, Chicken Run would end up grossing nearly $227 million, becoming, and to this day remaining, the highest grossing stop-motion animated movie in history. Yeah, until I come out with mine. In fact, the movie was so well received that it was pushed to even be nominated for the Best Picture Academy Award. But it didn't work, and the outrage caused the Academy to actually create the Best Animated Feature category for all subsequent ceremonies. All because of Chicken Run.
Really?
The film tells the story of Ginger, voiced by Julia Sawala, the leader of a bunch of chickens forever trapped in the most sadistic chicken coop imaginable, being forced to lay eggs all day or they'll be brutally murdered. Happy Thanksgiving!
Absolutely.
Then all of a sudden, an American rooster called Rocky shows up, voiced by Mel Gibson. Not the best choice for a feminist movie. Then again, Mel Gibson plays a cock!
Load of tripe!
And he plans to help them all escape. I will say, with Wallace and Gromit, there were sometimes certain limitations, but here, everything is fluid. The animation looks so good. I very often forget that it's stop motion. It's that good. The gravy from the pies look insane. The rain is incredible. They managed to convey so much emotion with the animation alone. No dialogue needed. Even the tiny details of the reflections on a blade. That must have taken forever. They didn't even need to add that kind of detail, but it looks so good. And long shots like this really blow my mind. How the hell did they pull that off? It's insane! And I respect the hell out of this movie for its massive balls. The opening is a montage of a bunch of escape attempts, one of which is a guard dog hunting down a chicken. In the original script, it fully gets eaten by them, but they cut it out. Oh, pussies. In fact, the original script also had Ginger with a little brother called Nobby, but the studio took him out specifically to make the movie less cute. I love this film.
That doesn't sound good.
But we all remember this bitch from our childhood. Yeah, she was the Trunchbull of the 2000s.
You, detention. You're too small. Grow up quicker.
Fresh meat.
It's practically a concentration camp for chickens. It's so disturbing and I love it. Look at her, she's Hitler.
Double their food rations, Mr. Tweedy.
I want them all as fat as this one.
Rude.
Don't you see what's happening? They're fattening us up.
Well, yes. She just said it in front of all of you. Why are you making out like this is a huge revelation that you just figured out? I mean, Rocky nearly gets mutilated. Good. And they nearly get rolled to death. stuff, but it's also covered with great humour as they dress up as a woman to trick the dogs. It is a pretty funny montage of them being locked up over and over again, failing to escape. I mean, look at it, it's the damn Holocaust! For chickens! One gets taken away to be murdered and we even witness it, and a corpse! They even casually joke about how dark it is.
Back from holiday? I wasn't on holiday, Babs. I was in solitary confinement.
Oh, it's nice to get a bit of time to yourself, isn't it?
But then we're introduced to Babs. One of the greatest characters ever put to film.
Oh, is Edwin off on holiday?
Listen, shh. You hear that? That's the open road calling my name, and I was born to answer that call. Bye.
You must have very good hearing. My life flashed before my eyes. It was really boring.
We'll either die free chickens or die trying.
Are those the only choices?
I just love how she continues knitting even when she's told she's about to be turned into a pie. In fact, the comedy throughout this whole film is hilarious.
Sick and tired of making minuscule profits.
What haven't we tried yet?
We haven't tried not trying to escape.
That might work.
This is our way out of here.
We'll make posters.
Just a little place I call the land of the free, the home of the brave.
Scotland!
No!
You mean you never actually flew the plane?
Good heavens, no. I'm a chicken.
And not just because of the bad puns.
Rocky, the Rhode Island Red. Rhodes for short.
Rocky roads.
It's raining hay! Oh. Cocktail! Is that your first offense? No! Get it?
Although they do continue to have really predictable gags.
We mustn't panic!
And panic. It's literally the same joke they used in Wallace and Gromit.
Comfortable?
Not really.
Oh, makes a change. Someone else making Mel Gibson feel uncomfortable for once. Although the women go crazy for cock and all want to share their bed with Rocky. Yeah, that's aged well. Although it clearly rips off Ernest Goes to School here.
Which means you do everything I tell you.
Clearly a direct rip-off. Then again, we also get the generic warehouse factory scene, so Attack of the Clones clearly copied Chicken Run, as well as not one, but two Indiana Jones references in Chicken Run. As is common with Aardman films, it genuinely is intense at points, as the circus are trying to track down Rocky to take him back. How the hell did they make it so dramatic? In fact, Ginger gives an emotional speech, and she somehow gets me to care about chickens. How are they doing this? But to be fair, it is a nice message, as they're all unhappy just being mothers laying eggs. They want more out of life. It has a lot of deeper meanings, and is really well written for a kids' film.
So laying eggs all your life and then getting plucked, stuffed and roasted is good enough for you, is it?
Even though there's a really dramatic reveal to finding out that Rocky's a fraud, but I don't understand why it's such a big reveal. Ginger literally knew he was from the circus this entire time. Why is she surprised?
Sleep tight, Angel Face. The Rock's on the case.
Shut up, bitch!
It is weird though. The opening of the film clearly showed how closely monitored they all were, but now they're able to pull off all of this to try to escape without being caught. Weirdly, the original ending was going to have the chickens actually successfully fly out, just from the power of believing. It's dumb.
You can't pull off a stunt like that.
About 45 minutes in, it does seem like they run out of plot because Rocky just decides to dance with them all. I mean, I think the point is to show how lovable the guy is, so it's not entirely pointless. I just think it was a contractual obligation during the early 2000s to have a random dance and song sequence in every animated movie that was coming out. Right before becoming Sweeney Todd to turn them into chicken pies.
You are going to be a pie.
There's a line you don't hear very often.
Buddy, give me a boost.
What, he gets a boost 15 feet high up a damn telephone pole? How tall are these chickens? In fact, if they can get that high, why can't they escape? But then after all this build-up, Rocky easily escapes. With a goddamn spoon. That's all they had to do. Way to shit all over your own film, guys. But they do maintain the charm by having the human characters react to ridiculous shit in the most British way possible.
Why, you thieving little buggers?
They do the cliche of an attack happening in the background while someone in the foreground is completely oblivious. You know what? It's overdone, but it's always funny. Although I do think the movie really should have gone all out and have the axe straight up obliterate Mrs. Tweedy's face. Why not? You've gone dark already, may as well go all out. It's sweet and wholesome when they escape, but the crazy bitch even clutches on. Jesus Christ! And Ginger even pretends to be decapitated. But Mrs. Tweedy somehow survives exploding. Until her husband practically kills her. This film is amazing! Before the exact same ending as 101 Dalmatians, but it works. And you know what? This film is still really good all these years later. It's hilarious, but also dark and severely disturbing. I appreciate kids' films that have no boundaries, and this movie really pushes them to the brink, and it truly shines at it. Let's just hope the sequel doesn't pull any punches to cater to the new generation. Like a certain legacy sequel based on 3 particular witches.